I'm here at Kia Moritz. Which Kia Moritz is this?
So this is Moritz Kia Alliance. I'm Sarah Hams. I'm one of our salespeople here, and we're going to be checking out the Kia EV9 today. This is the land all-wheel drive.
So before we jump into the car, I want to ask your experience as salesperson who sells EVs. How has it been working for you?
It's been working great for me. I'm a really big advocate for EVs. For people watching, I actually own an EV9, so this is my personal car. So it's a really fun drive. People are always shocked by the pure power that's in these vehicles, so it's always fun showing people, especially if they have no knowledge of EVs.
So what are some age range of people who are looking for EVs?
Good question. It's going to depend on the model. For a model like this, like our EV9, you're typically looking at younger families. Typically with pretty good income, two income households. Normally they will have kids. And then if you look at like our EV6 model that we have, it's typically going to be the younger group type of generation. Pretty well off job, interest in the environment, things like that.
Oh, is that the main reason that they're looking for EV? They're interested in saving
most of the country, yes. In Texas, not really. The biggest ones here are typically just going to be, the cost. Cost of ownership is a big part of it because with your EVs, you don't have as much maintenance cost as with your combustion engines. So cost is a big factor for people, and then also the performance of the vehicle, just the pure speed, the pure power. What I understand is there are a lot of first-time EV owners. How do you guys help them to make that decision to purchase EVs? The biggest thing is definitely needs analysis. So we ask a lot of questions to our first-time EV buyers, because that is one thing. If you're not well-researched on these vehicles and you haven't really driven them, you don't know a lot about charging and where your chargers are, it can be really, really overwhelming because it's a ton of knowledge. So we ask a ton of questions to those customers, especially to find out, is this right for you? Or do we need to maybe take a smaller step to like a plug-in hybrid or even a hybrid? So there's a lot of needs analysis that goes into that for sure.
Are there any incentives that the state of Texas or the DFW area, the city?
Area-wise, no. So Kia, there's a lot of movement right now when it comes to like the federal type of incentives. Kias will start qualifying for those now that it's being moved to Georgia, because these vehicles were produced in Korea, and then they moved that over to the factory that's in Georgia. So we're supposed to be getting that. Who knows with the election if we're still going to get that or not? We don't know. But how we typically combat that is Kia. So Kia themselves puts out a ton of incentives for their electric vehicles.
Oh, really?
Like on certain years and models of the EV9, you can get $10,000 to $18,000 of rebates. And so it really just depends. So if you see a Telluride that has no incentives versus an EV9 that's got 10, 15, 18,000, it's a huge incentive to go EV.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Go with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
So now we talked about what Kia Moritz do to help people buy EVs. Can you just give me a little breakdown of the vehicle itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll take a look at the front to start off with. So one of the biggest things people notice about these electric vehicles is really the rims, because most electric vehicles have these crazy cool looking rims. These are actually designed for aerodynamics so that you have better battery efficiency whenever you're driving. So that's what that is for. And then our EV9s come with these 20-inch rims. Another thing to point out here, you'll notice this is a sensor, which we'll get more into this when we're actually driving because it's cooler to show you the cameras and different things on here. But this car is literally just filled with sensors all the way around it at a 360-degree angle. So you can see front, back, both sides. So it's really meant for maximum safety. The other cool thing to point out with the EV9 is really these headlights. So these are digital patterns on here. So obviously you've got your LEDs running down here,
But this is called a digital lighting pattern, and it's available on the EV9 Land all-wheel drive, and then also on the GT line as well. With this, the cool thing is this is what it looks like standard, but you can also purchase a package if you want to customize that design. So they have different designs for those people who really like their individuality to show through with their car.
Oh, that's cool.
EV9, one thing we always love pointing out is our logo, because people know the old Kia versus new Kia.
Yeah.
So we're definitely very proud of our new rebranding, redesign, and things like that. So
Way
you'll
more
see-
modern.
Yes, definitely. And we've had this being presented at a lot of different events and places. So anybody who watched the New Year's Eve special in New York saw our EV9 is the one that brings the numbers to the New Year's Eve event. We're all over the NBA. You know, they see us on sports all the time.
Oh yeah,
so it's
Kia
everywhere.
sponsors NBA, right?
So yeah, that's this front end of this. And then when we go on the drive, you'll be able to hear it as well, but the windshield is acoustic, so it has really low road noise to keep it quiet inside the cabin.
What are the ranges on it?
So depending on the trim level, basically the biggest thing it goes based off of is whether it's a rear wheel drive car or an all wheel drive car. So like for the Land, for example, this is an all wheel drive car. Range is typically gonna be about 256, but of course, just like a gas car, it's also gonna depend on how you drive. So eco mode, sport mode, do you have a lead foot or not? All those different things.
But then what's the battery capacity on it?
Battery, so this one is a 99.8 dual motor. So is that what you mean by capacity? So most people who are looking at EVs will know what that means, but this one has a 99.8 kilowatt
Oh, okay, yeah.
on the battery capacity. And then if you go down to the lower ones, then they'll have a smaller battery capacity.
What charging port does it use?
So this one uses the standard, and when we go around to the back, you want me to show you that now?
Yeah.
So we do have a right side port right now, and you just push this little button and it pops open. So we use the current standard charging is what it's called. This will change because this model is a 24 and we're about to be coming out with the 25s. The 2025s are going to be coming out with what's called the NAX port, which most people just know as the Tesla.
Yeah.
So it will be changing to that, and it will be moving to the left side on those 25s. So that will be a big difference. The cool thing about this too is it also does something called V2L, which is vehicle to load. So back here, your EV9 is going to come with a little adapter that plugs into this, and you can use it to power appliances. So if you're out tailgating and you want to pop up, I don't know, a laptop or whatever it is you want to do to plug into the car, you can use the energy in the car to actually power those appliances.
Okay.
And the cool thing with that too is that those settings are also customizable. So you can tell it that you want it to be able to do vehicle to load up to a certain percentage. So let's say you're using it and it drops your vehicle down to 30%, it'll cut off. And you can customize that to 20%, 30%, 40%. So not a huge deal for people who are in the cities, but if you're someone who camps a lot, it's really handy to be able to do that, to say, you know, I really want to make sure I have 40% to be able to get back home.
Oh, can we take a look at the V2L outlet?
And then this is a power lift gate. The car's already on, so I can't show it to you, but it also does have auto open and auto close, which is basically proximity. We don't do the crazy foot wave thing. You don't have to wave your foot under the car or anything like that. It senses the key in your pocket. So whenever you come up to the car, it will actually auto open, and then when you walk away, it will auto close. So this will come inside an EV9. So this one is the actual charger.
That's for home charging.
All right. You're going to edit this, right?
Yeah, we can edit it. Doesn't matter.
This one does not have the V2L in here.
Oh, isn't this what it is?
You can do that one too.
Yeah.
This is just a port,
Yeah.
but there's also something that looks like this. So, come on, killing me.
Now take your time.
Yeah, see, like this is just a charger. It looks like this, except it's got this end that plugs in, and then on this side, it's got an outlet,
Oh, really?
and you literally plug it in.
Oh,
So,
from
like-
outside.
Like this one's nice because you can plug it into the back
Right.
and have something back here, but if
Yeah.
you're out camping, then you just open up this port, and then you literally plug that into this, and then the end of it has like a little spot to plug in an appliance.
So I can see you can open it by pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you close it?
You can either push on it because it shut because it hit my stomach, or you can push this little button right here.
Oh, I see, I see. All right.
So it pops open like that. And then this button here overrides scheduled charging, because the cool thing with this too is that you can also customize schedules. So if you want it to start charging at a certain time, you can do that. So people who have, let's say, free nights and weekends electricity plans, they could actually park this in their garage and tell it to start charging whenever that plan kicks in. So they're getting free charging. Really is the adapter and then the port access. Because what it'll do is it's going to switch, like this won't even be here anymore. So this is going to remove from the right side to the left side. And it's because, I guess with the Tesla chargers, it's typically easier to charge cars on the left side of the vehicle. So that's why they're switching it to the other side like a gas tank.
Okay. Well, that's not really important. You know, I was just trying to come up with any kind
The Frunk, a lot of people do have questions about the Frunk of this. So you have a button inside, you just double click it, and then it unlocks up here. And then whenever you, just lift it up. Yeah. It's not like the gas cars where you have to go in and find the little latch. So one thing you'll notice about the EV9, this was actually a design with purpose. So the way this is set up right here, you know, when you open an engine, anything like that, it's not typically flat like this. They did this as a visual, almost marketing piece to show people that with these cars, you really don't have to do any maintenance. The only thing you should really ever be messing with is your windshield wiper fluid, which is over there.
This?
Yep. So they did this for that sole purpose, to make people realize, hey, you really shouldn't ever have to go in and mess with this stuff. Because obviously there's no engine, things like that. There's the V2L.
Oh, this is the V2L.
Yeah. So this, when you open it up, is your V2L adapter. So this is what plugs in to that port back there. So anybody who gets your EV9 and sees this, you'll use this little button right here to unlock it. And then you'll notice that it has that same charger port.
Right.
And then on the other end, it's kind of hard to get in there and see it, but there's an actual little plug in here.
Oh,
just plug items in. And then you literally just pop that into the charger, plug in your piece and turn it on, and you're charging a coffee maker.
So you don't have
laptop.
to open the trunk to do so?
No, but you could, because there is also a port back there.
Okay.
I was about to say, somebody stole our adapter. So this is the Frunk area. Most people with electric vehicles or who have been researching them already know that it has a Frunk. It's just kind of what it's been called over the years now.
Right.
This is the size on this one. Other models, like the EV6, will be a little bit smaller, a little bit more shallow. Then it's got this little button over here to pop it open from the inside too.
How do you close it?
So for this, you just pop it shut.
Oh, you just
Yep.
pop it shut?
You don't have to grab any levers, anything like that. Just pop it down. You're good to go.
Cool.
And then one other thing to point out on this particular trim level is going to be these little door handles right here. So these are the collapsible door handles. So this will go with lock and unlock. So like right now the vehicle's currently unlocked. Then when you lock it, these will pop in. And then I'll unlock it so you can show the mirror as well up here, but the mirror will also fold in and then come back out. And then you're good to go.
Right. Now, should we go for a test drive?
Yeah, definitely. We can take this out for a spin. So on the color too, you guys are getting a treat because this was a signature color that only came out on the EV9. It's the only car that has it. This is called Ocean Blue Gloss. So it's this really pretty, unique ocean color. Kia's big thing is that they try to be with the environment, that type of design aesthetic. Smooth, modern lines. So this one is Ocean Blue Gloss. And they also have this for the 24 and a matte version of it as well. So it's the same color, but with matte.
Okay. What are other colors that you guys have?
So other colors we have are going to be the typical colors. We have a dark gray one, which is going to be similar to that Sportage over there, but it's like a dark metallic, almost graphite gray. That's what I have. Love that color. With the 24s, there's ivory silver. They won't have it for 25, but it's almost a champagne color. And then you have white, which everybody knows what white looks like. And then another unique one is actually, there's a green color. It's like a really light ice green color. And black.
But, okay.
Raise your hand if you're ready and willing.
So you want to share something else about this car?
Absolutely. So one of the big questions people tend to have for us is, what is it like for my passengers, not just me? And a lot of videos really don't go into depth with that. So I really want to show them the back, how easy it is to get in and out, how easy it is to move the seats, because it takes out a lot of the work for you. So getting into the back here, a couple things, depending on your trim level, is you may have these, which are built-in sunshades as well. So if you have kiddos, this is huge. So this is already built into the car, pops right up like that. So that way they have a sunshade. And then one cool thing to point out is this right here. So with this model, this actually has heated and cooled in the back seat as well.
Oh, wow.
So your front seat enjoys them, but now your back seat can as well. So this controls the second row so they can heat and cool their seats.
First time seeing it for the back seats.
So this is what the setup looks like on the inside. You've got, for this particular trim level, captain's chairs. And then you have some of our lower trim models that can come with a bench seat if you want to accommodate an extra person. And I'm just going to kind of show what it's like for a person who's letting someone into that back seat.
Okay.
Now you'll notice on the seats you have two buttons. You have one up top here, and then you have one down here. These do the exact same thing. This is for letting somebody into the third row. And this is so your third row person can get out themselves. So you don't have to have another person open it up for them.
Okay.
So all you do literally is just pop that button down and it delatches and slides forward. So now you can get in.
All right, I'll try to get in.
And you're taller than me, so they'll appreciate it from you. And then you just pull that, or push that button back, pull the seat back. You can just pull the seat.
Oh.
So where it's at right now, you can kind of see his leg room. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". And then if you want to get out, you'll just pop this little button right here. Now in the back row as well, go ahead and push that. You can kind of show them too. If you look on the side over here, you'll notice your third row has charging ports. So it's got USB-Cs built into the back. So like right over here above the cup holder.
Yep.
And then plenty of cup holders built in. One of our jokes is you'll never not have a place for a drink in the EV9.
And let's get out.
And then you can go ahead and pop that back.
Oh.
Which that's a cool feature to show as well. You do have recline capabilities in here. So that's just reclining that seat back, getting it comfortable.
Okay.
And then you'll notice up at the top, your second row has air control as well. So EV9 is similar to Telluride as far as the air conditioning goes. We actually have ceiling vents, which this is really big for some people, especially those with car seats. So that way the airflow is not coming from the bottom up. It's actually coming directly to hit your kids' faces instead of coming from the floor. So second row and your third row have those ceiling air vents that can be opened, closed, etc. And then your second row has access to the controls up on the ceiling. Now I'm going to get on the other side and show you too. You can stay there. So this also has extra storage capacity. So this right here is built into the console. So if you pop this out, and then slide that back. So if you want to store water bottles, snacks for a road trip, anything like that, you can pop it in here. This also extends a little bit, so if you need a little platform for a table, and then pops back in. And then these just have these little bungee straps. So it doesn't have the nets anymore. Now it gives this more modern, streamlined appearance for your storage back here. And then the other thing to note too is your second row chargers are built into the front passenger and driver seats. So this entire vehicle is USB-C, so it's fully capable of fast charging.
So now share with us about some of the features inside.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're in here with the vehicle off. One thing I am going to point out here is it does have auto-adjusting seats.
So now share with us about the features inside this vehicle.
Absolutely. So we'll start off just what it's like getting into the vehicle for the first time. So like right now the vehicle is off. We didn't see it when I got in, but when you open your door, it does auto adjustment. So this is to give you easy access in and out. And then whenever you shut it and go to turn your vehicle back on, it's going to adjust back to the settings. The layout is a little bit different from a lot of other vehicles. They're used to having, you know, turning on the vehicle down here or a push button here. Ours is built behind the steering wheel. So if you look right here, this has all your controls for shifting gears and your power button. Now, another cool thing, which this isn't set, and I can set it later to show you, but this actually has biometric scanner. So this is meant for your fingerprint, so you can actually set your fingerprint to the car, and it will log into your profile. You can actually turn the car on, go into your profile, and actually drive the car. So like for me personally, I almost never have my key with me.
Oh, wow.
It's all controlled either through fingerprint or through my phone.
So
So-
you can open the door by using your phone.
Yep. So this one obviously we haven't sold, so it's not set up. But like when I get into my car, as long as I have my phone in my pocket, I just walk up. It's going to sense me. The door handles are going to pop open. The mirrors are going to pop out. And it's going to let me into the car because it senses that my phone is a key.
Then does a seat and any other features, can you personalize?
Absolutely. So I'll show you that. So we're going to go ahead. What you do is it's just like a regular car. You put your foot on the brake and then push the power button. And we're on. super quiet. That's the awesome thing about it. So this has what's called profiles. So up here on our screen, this is our main screen, and it's going to welcome whoever it is that's coming in. This is in demo mode right now. But if I close this out and come up to here, you can go in and play with profile settings. Now with the EV9s, you have 3 profiles available. So you can have a driver 1, a driver 2, and then a guest profile. And it will set the settings to that person. So if you want your own radio presets, if you want your own seat setup, and all those different things. So like if I hit, let's go to driver 1. It'll walk you through a setup. It'll let you set up your fingerprint, which is pretty cool. So if you come in here, set your fingerprint, you'll set up a password, and then you can customize it to your fingerprint, and it will automatically log you in whenever you get into the car. And then we're gonna go ahead and go back. We'll go back since we were on the guest profile. So with this display, this is one of the things that excites people most, is just that it has this big panoramic screen back here. So this has 3 separate screens within it. The whole thing is digital. And then this is touch, and then this is just a digital display for you. So over here, you've got all of your drivability features. So you can see a range guide. So like from this screen, range is typically going to be one of people's biggest questions. This is a land all-wheel drive. Like I mentioned, you should be getting about 256, and then just depending on how you drive, it'll change and go up, down, based on what you're doing all the time. So over here, you've got your indicator for speed, fully digital. This actually shows different signs and things that are coming up. So if you have a stop sign that's about to be coming up, if you have a school zone coming up, that will actually change. And it'll stay black if you're driving the speed limit, and it'll turn red if you're speeding. And then some of the other indicators in here, this is your main settings type screen. And then you have this little button here that can change it. So this little button is called your pages button, and it will change whatever you're seeing on this screen. So we got the compass. You can go in and see the screen. This doesn't show much right now, but when we go on the drive, you'll see when I turn on cruise control, it will actually turn on the centering, and you'll see little lasers coming out to show straightness. And then if we go here, we got range guide, and then you can scroll. So you use this little button here to scroll down. Now, tire pressure, this is going to be on every one of the EV9s, and it's live. So whenever you start driving, your tire pressure will come on. So if you hit something and you want to know if there's something wrong with your tire, you can go to that and it will start going down live. And then this next screen won't be on every vehicle. This is on this one because this is an all-wheel drive. So as you're driving, you'll actually see the power going to each wheel. And then you can see all your data from driving, your current trip, after your last charge, reset, all that jazz. And then back to your compass. And then over here, you've got your range, which this is always the most important piece for people. So right now we're showing we should be getting about 256 miles on this current charge, which is actually pretty good because right now we're actually only charged, if you look right here, to 90%. So it could actually go a little bit further if we'd gone up to 100. And then this last little icon is for regenerative braking. So like right now we're in auto. And for those who don't know what regenerative braking is, it's basically if you've ever driven an electric vehicle, as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, you're going to notice it starts to slow down on its own. And it's building power back into the vehicle to extend your range. And you can actually set that to various different versions, which I'll show you guys that more on the drive. Go ahead. Dawn was nice enough to bring me a coffee, so I don't want this to spill all over our nice little EV9. So this has little pop-out cup holders. So right now it's just storage. Click this little button, and these pop out into cup holders. Thank you for my coffee. All right, so to put this car into drive, you're going to put your foot on the brake, and then you've got this little rotate right here. And you can see these little indicators that tell you what you're currently in. So like right now we're lit on P, which means we're in park. And then I want to rotate it forward to drive, or reverse, or neutral. So we'll go reverse first, and you're going to see that what pops up is a surround view camera. So this is your 360-degree camera over here on this side, and it's also got guidelines that will move with the vehicle. And then your backup camera right here has dual lines, so you can adjust yourself into spaces. The other cool thing with this is you can also change angles. So if you want to see how close you're getting to something, you can see a bird's eye view. And then this is always a party trick to show, but you have a 3D version of your car, and that'll pop up and show you on there. This kind of freaks me out, so I never use it, but some people love that. So yeah, different angles there. You can also see this is looking down the blind side of your car. So you're looking through the cameras on your mirrors. And then you've got your panoramic at the back. So that's reverse. Nothing crazy. Back in the day when people started coming out with hybrids, they would have those beeps. They got rid of that. You'll notice that it gets a little bit louder, but nothing crazy. No beeps like you're backing up like a bus. And then we want to go into drive now. So we're going to rotate this forward to drive. Now, another cool thing to notate on here is that you have full power mirrors with tilt as well. So here in a second, I'm going to put it in reverse, and you're going to notice this makes it easier for you to pull into your driveway or tight spaces. When I go into reverse, that mirror comes down. So that way I can see the ground a little bit better. And then when you put it into drive, it pops back up. All right, so let's go drive. Okay, so we'll stay in the parking lot for now. First thing I'm going to point out is regenerative braking, because it's typically what people have the most questions about, and it's a very crazy sensation at first. So like right now, I'm on level 3. I'm going to move it down to level 0 and hopefully not hit this guy. So level 0 is just like a normal car. You're not going to feel any kind of pullback on the car. You are going to have to stop it. If we go forward and I take my foot off the accelerator, so like right now, the car is still moving forward. So you can kind of see right here, my foot's on nothing right now and we're still going. When I change this using the paddle shifters, your right side brings it down and your left side brings it up. So if I am driving and I move this up and I click, notice that this down here starts going up. I'm now in level 2. So I'm going to take this out to level 4, which is I-pedal, which is max. And this is going to bring you to a complete stop. So now if I go forward, you can kind of show the front of the car up here. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to let go of the accelerator. I am not touching any kind of brake pedal. So this is what regenerative braking does. The stronger it is, the harder that braking ability of the vehicle and the more power you build back into the car. And it brings it to a complete stop right here. So my foot's not on the brake, not doing anything like that. This is really handy for stop and go traffic. And then don't have to push the brake or anything. I just take off whenever I'm ready. All right, Don, what are you feeling? You want to go in town? You want some highway driving?
Let's go for some highway driving.
Highway driving.
We gotta see how fast this goes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my blinker. And this is really cool because it pops up the blinker over here. So this is showing you whatever side your blinker you have on out your mirror. So right now I'm looking out my left side to make sure that there's nobody coming up on my left side. And it will do the same thing if you put your blinker on the right, it'll pop up for the right side as well. So left and right. And then we're still in max, so we're gonna come up to the stop sign here. I'm gonna slowly start taking my foot off the accelerator. Still haven't touched the brake. Everything is being controlled by the accelerator. So like right now, my feet aren't even on anything. I'm just hanging out. Okay, so as far as drive modes go, depending on the vehicle and whether it's all-wheel drive or whatever, it's going to depend on what drive modes you have. So for example, this one has 5 different drive modes. It's got eco mode, and then it also has what's called, or do you want to show them the drive mode switch? So you push this little button on the steering wheel that changes your drive modes. You've got eco, normal, sport, my drive, and snow. Eco is going to be your most efficient, and then it's controlled by this button down here. So this is your drive mode button. And we're going to go ahead and start in Eco so you can feel it, because that's always more fun. Eco is going to be your most battery efficient. Essentially what it's doing is it's turning it into a rear wheel drive. So it's reducing the power going to those front wheels to give you max efficiency. So you're going to feel it more from the back than the front. And even in Eco mode, that's a good thing to point out. So like that right there, popped up to notify me that a car was about to come in front. Tons of sensors on this vehicle. So right now we're in Eco mode, and we're gonna switch over to this right lane over here in a second. Yeah, we'll go right lane. So this is your Eco, and you'll notice it has a pretty good amount of torque. Like it will still, if you take off from a stop, put you in your seat pretty quick. And then if we switch to normal mode, you feel that pickup. And then sport mode is true power. So how about you? How do you feel in the back seat?
Oh, I can definitely feel the difference between
did it feel,
each driving mode. Yes.
Did it feel like you hit 102?
Oh yeah. It's quiet. I mean,
it's very quiet.
Yeah,
you don't really
quiet.
notice that sound or anything like that. It can be a little disconcerting for customers at first, but it does have something called active sound design, where you can give it an artificial sound.
Oh, really?
Yep, so I'll show you that. So that's going to be over here in setup. And then we're going to go to sound, active sound design, and I'm going to put it on largest change so you can hear. I don't know if the people at home will be able to hear it too well, but you'll notice that it's got a shift in the sound here in a second when we take off.
Does it have a automatic braking system?
Yes, it does. So when we do the cruise control, all of that's automatic. It'll bring you to a full stop and start.
Is that for preventing the accidents when someone changes
That's its
lane?
primary. So the way the braking is on EV9, so here's that sound. Now it's a little goofy, but this is really for people, especially if this is your first EV, it's really hard to gauge speed because you could be going, 60 miles an hour and you don't notice because 60 miles an hour and 20 miles an hour all kind of feel the same. So having that sound kind of puts it in people's head like, hey, I'm going faster right now. So it gives you that acceleration sound.
You say you own this vehicle yourself. Do you use that feature as well?
The active sound?
Yes.
No, I like it silent. I will say I did it first. So probably like the first 3 days I had it, I used it. And then I just liked having it quiet. But it definitely makes it easier for people to get used to it. So that way you know exactly how fast you're accelerating.
Right.
Because in this vehicle, you can get 0 to 60, I think it's like 5.2 seconds or something like that. And it's pretty quick. It's going to throw you back. So we'll go back into Eco mode now that we have that. You also have a My Drive option where you can customize the steering and braking. So if you want the steering feel of sport mode, but you want the braking feel of Eco, or however you want to do that, you can customize it to that and have your own drive mode. All right, so some of the indicators on the screen right now, like this one that's currently on in green, this is your lane keeping assist. So it's designed to keep you from shifting into a lane unintentionally. So you'll notice it just started flashing and it started moving my steering wheel. And you guys can't feel it, but the steering wheel actually vibrates too. Just like an Xbox controller, it's got haptic feedback. So it starts to vibrate on you. And that's just keeping you from drifting. If you have your blinker on, it doesn't do that. And then so now we're gonna get up here on the highway and I'll show you guys some cruise control features. This has something called adaptive cruise control. It's a navigation-based cruise control with stop and go. So what that essentially means is if I'm in cruise control, I'm really not having to do much with my vehicle. So right now we're paying attention to this Ram that's in front of us. I'm gonna click this little button here to turn on my cruise control. And you'll notice I just set it to 61, which this speed on this highway is 65. So we're gonna set it to 65. And you'll notice that even though I'm on 65, my speed right now is 51. And it's because it was judging that Ram, and now he just moved over. So now that he's moved over, the car is going to speed back up to 65. Now the other cool thing with the adaptive cruise control is the following distance. So you can set your following distance to the cars in front of you. I'm set to a level 2, which is where a majority of people are comfortable. I tend to drive in level 1. So this is going to give me a level distance of 1. And the cool thing about this, especially in DFW, is people cut you off a lot. You're constantly getting cut off over here.
They do.
So if somebody cuts me off right now, my car is automatically going to slow down without me having to touch the brake. So this whole time I'm driving, I don't have to touch anything. So we're in Texas though, so we're going to go faster than 65. So I'm speeding up to 75 using my steering wheel controls right here. And now it's speeding me up to 75. You know what, let's have some fun with it. Let's catch this guy. Because it's easier to show when there's actually a person in front of you.
We might not want to put the video of you going 100.
You can cut that part out if you want. Our cops out here are very generous. They don't mess with us. Okay, so now you can see it's gauging based off this Chevy that's in front of us. So we're going 72, now we're at 70, 69 because of his speed. If I switch lanes and go over into this left lane, it's gonna automatically speed me up. So now it's sped me up to 75, which is where I'm set. And that's kind of how that works. Now the other thing it has as well is something called highway drive assist. So obviously you've got your lane keeping, but this little button right here turns on highway drive assist. And you'll notice it also has a blind spot indicator when I pass someone. So we're gonna pass this Prius right here and you'll see this little red icon pop up. And that is showing you your blind spot. So somebody is there as well as your mirrors. And I'm gonna push this little button and turn on this feature right here. So that little line pops up in the front. And that is actually, instead of just keeping us from drifting, this is now keeping us centered in the lane. So if we switch lanes over, turn our blinker off, and you can see, like right now I'm hands-free, it's keeping me centered in the lane, and I'm just kind of talking to y'all. Now I will say it's not autonomous driving. Kia does want you to be as safe as possible. So at some point, if I keep my hands off long enough, it is gonna tell me to put my hands back on the wheel. But you can literally drive in comfort this whole time and not really have to do a whole lot. All right, what else would you guys like to cover? Sunroofs, is that something you think your viewers would want? See, like that guy just got in front of me, so it slowed me down. So in this, you have dual sunroofs. This front one is gonna be an actual sunroof to where it pops open. And then you just slide this little cover back forward. And then in the back, you have a moonroof. So the moonroof doesn't open the window itself, but it does have a screen. So that's your moonroof, and then this screen will fully close. And that is fully electric back there, so it'll slide on its own. And then with the Land, this is gonna be the trim level where you get what's called the digital rear view camera. So like right now, it's just a rear view mirror. But if we pop that up, now it's an actual camera looking out the back of the car. And you can adjust the height and brightness and everything on that. All right, anything else drive-wise? You had another question about the drive. I don't remember what it was. This, oh, actually, yeah, I do. So the range.
Oh, the range.
Yeah, you wanted people to see how the range changes when you switch drive modes. So let me get it out of all this safety stuff. Okay, so one of the things I'll show is how the range changes when you switch drive mode to drive mode. So eco mode, we are currently reading at 250, and then when we switch to normal, drops down to 243, and then when we switch to sport, drops down to 235. My drive isn't really set, so it's just going kind of to normal generic. And then you have your snow mode, which is essentially going to be similar to sport mode. And then back to eco, we go back up to 250. So even going from your max battery efficiency of eco, you're at 250, dropping down to a max of 235. So even going to sport, you're only losing about 15 miles of range. Now, you'll notice this also changes based off, just like a gas car, how many features in the car you're using at a time. So the biggest thing that's going to affect your range is going to be your cooling and heating system. So typically, if you increase your fan speed or things like that, it will drop it down. So like right now, we're on low, and you'll see that when I turn the temperature up in fan speed, it drops down by a few miles. And then you can get that range back by dropping it back down. And then EVs, any EV I've been will have a driver mode, which essentially means if you're driving by yourself, hit this driver only button and it cuts off the fan to all the rest of the car. So that way it's conserving energy.
It's my first time seeing the car telling you how much range it has left, depending on what features you're using inside the car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The other ones haven't done that? Yeah, this car is great for visual people, because a lot of people who are going into electric for the first time, they just have that like range anxiety. You know, can I make it where I need to go? That's the big question. So it is really nice that our Kias do this, because you can see, oh, well, you know, I may not necessarily pay attention to the fact that I'm using air conditioning in the whole car. Well, I'm the only person driving, so why do I need to use it? And you can gain back range that way. It also has an EV screen for people who like to have that visual aspect. So like if we pop this little EV screen up, you can see it here as well. So this is, oops, I just knocked your camera off. So this is showing the range and different things as well as your battery. So like right now we're at 86%. It does show that there's a charger up here I could use in about 5 miles if I wanted to charge the car. And then these are the visual representation as well. So this is telling me that I have 249 miles of range if I keep my air where it's at right now. And if I cut the climate off entirely, how much you can gain back, which we're not using a whole lot of energy right now with how we have it set up, which is why it's not showing a huge difference.
At your location.
Oh, like cost or like charging the car?
Just charging the car. Like, you guys have, I'm gonna ask, how do you guys charge your EVs at the location?
I don't know if I want that on camera.
Oh, really? So today we were at Kia Moritz Alliance. Here, Sarah helped us review the EV9.
Yeah, so I hope you guys learned a lot. Best way to experience these vehicles is really just to come in, check them out, drive them yourself. You won't regret it, even if you just want to check it out, because it's a fun drive and a fun experience.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, no problem. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks.